right, so now if you visualize the canopy, it is the front of the canopy is facing my legs, the rear of the canopy is facing forward like this. So I've got the left side of the canopy and the right side of the canopy. You can tell because there's a label on most parachutes on right and left sides, okay? So right and left side. What you're gonna do, take those rear risers in your hand, so you have the rear part of the canopy, and the front risers, turn everything 90 degrees, okay? So what I've done is now the front part of the canopy is on my left side and the rear side of the canopy is on my right side. Take that, give it a good shake. Now you can lay that down and you're gonna start counting your nose cells. You're gonna start on the label that's right next to your legs. So you should have a label touching your thighs. You're gonna reach for the reinforcement tape. There is your first cell right there. You'll be able to tell nose cell because it's divided into 2 halves. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Most of the canopies that you guys will be flying are gonna be 9 cell. This is a wingsuit specific canopy, so it's 7 cell. So keep counting, make sure you have the appropriate amount of cells. It'll either be 7 or 9. Now everything's in a line. You're gonna take those nose cells all together. Now you can see the label on each right and left half. I have the whole front of the canopy in my hand. I'm gonna take this and put it right in between my legs. Okay, so now I'm standing here. I've got the front of the canopy in between my legs. This is the back of the canopy. What we want to do now is called flaking. The goal of this is to get all of the lines in the middle and all of the fabric to the outside, okay? First, we're going to take if you have a collapsible slider, it's gonna look like this when you land. The best way to avoid damaging your slider is because of this stiffener right here. If you pop this in and pull straight away, that is going to potentially rip the fabric on your slider, okay? The best way to do it is turn it 180 degrees so it's facing the back where there's actually more reinforcement, and then pull like so. If you see old sliders, usually they have damage right here. It's because people don't take the time to rotate that. It's just gonna increase the lifetime of your gear. This canopy has about 500 jumps on it and you wouldn't be able to tell, okay? Same thing with my other side. I'm gonna turn that tab so it's facing the back and pull it open. I'm gonna take the whole slider, put it over my shoulder and leave it right here. Okay, so this is the part where people look down and they go, oh my gosh, what the heck am I looking at? What am I supposed to do now? Where do I even begin? So you have the nose in between your legs. So that means all of these attachment points right here, these are all my A attachment points, closest to my body, and they're gonna be shortest, okay? On a 9 cell canopy, you're gonna have 5 on the right, 5 on the left, 10 total. On a 7 cell canopy, it's gonna be 8. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, that's my right side, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, that's my left side. So all of my A's are perfectly lined up, and we want them as close to the center of my body as possible, okay? Remember, the goal of flaking is to put the lines on the inside and the fabric on the outside, okay? While holding those in the middle, you can kind of open it up a little bit more, all right? And you can see my canopy already has my B lines pretty much lined up for me, okay? Your B lines are attached to your A lines by this seam. So if you were to follow this down, that A is attached to that B. So if you ever have a hard time finding where your lines are, you can just literally go down each A attachment point and find the B line that's associated with it, okay? So we've got my B's. There's actually one. Okay, so we're gonna take this fabric that's in the middle. Remember, we want the lines on the inside of the canopy and the fabric on the outside. So I'm gonna put the fabric to the outside and the lines on the inside, okay? So now if you look at just this portion I have my A lines in line, the fabric goes out, and my B lines are directly below my A lines. Same things with my C lines. You can see if you follow this seam, these 3 B's are attached to those C's. I'm gonna lift, I'm gonna push the fabric to the outside, I'm gonna lay my C lines down right underneath my B lines. And if you look, you can see A, B, C, right in a line. The fabric all goes to the outside, okay? Last but not least, we have our D lines. Often you'll find your D line kind of wrapped behind you over here, and you might not be able to reach, right? My arm is not long enough to actually reach these without having to bend over. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift up the lines so I can see that seam in between. I can move that fabric, and I can actually lay it down straight in front of me. So now you can see A, B, C, D, all as straight in the middle as I can get it with the fabric on the outside. These attachment points, this is your brake lines and your stabilizers. So you don't have to worry about flaking these yet, okay? Mostly you just wanna worry about A, B, C, D in the middle, okay? We wanna make the right side look like the left side. So now I've got all of my A's in the middle of the canopy, all of my B's in the middle of the canopy, all of my C's in the middle of the canopy, all of my D's in the middle of the canopy. Most important part right here is that everything is equal, okay? I don't have these D's on my left super short from my right? That would be an asymmetric opening. So you're just looking, everything is approximately the same length of each other, okay? And that's important where we started with the risers, making sure those were all even. At this point, you want to bring the slider back down. So you can slide it down. And when we do what is called quartering the slider, okay? Basically what you're doing is dividing it into 4 equal parts, okay? So you want one part in the front of you like this, and then one on either side, right and left. So there and there. And then this part is actually gonna be what's actually in between your legs right now. What I do is I kind of just put the fabric there. When I turn the canopy, I'm gonna fix it. Basically, we want all of these grommets down as far as they will go, okay? That's the most important part, that these grommets are down as far as they will go, and the same, almost the same height. There should be pretty close, okay? Now we're gonna grab all this together. Ew, flaking the tail. This part, you could leave it like this. You literally don't have to do anything at this point, but again, once you buy your own gear, you wanna worry about longevity of the gear, okay? So right here, for example, I've got a line crossing over fabric. This won't really do anything to my deployment. It's not gonna affect very much, but over time, that line is going to cause friction on this tape, and it's gonna potentially damage my canopy. So what I wanna do is I wanna make sure that all of the fabric of the brake lines and of the stabilizers is not getting crossed over by a line, okay? So I kind of do like that, and you can just kind of lay the fabric forward so it's covering all the lines like this.